Hi traders, welcome to another new session. If you're new here, my name is Farida. I'm a new forex trader. I'm going to be sharing trades I take with you on this platform. Let's hop into the charts.
On this day, I took a BTC trade, so I'll first look for my most recent break of structure to the upside, which is this level here. What do we do after finding our most recent break of structure? We draw our demand or supply zone depending on the area. And our demand or supply zone, or rather in this case, our demand zone is the last bearish candle. So we're going to draw our zone, which is this zone marked up here. What we need to do afterwards is waiting for price to come and retest this hour zone. We can see price retested this hour zone here. It tested it here and it came to test it here. Now, even though someone had entered here, remember, no matter the case, your stop loss should be below this protective low area marked up. So had it been someone was doing an aggressive entry, they would have entered here, put their stop loss here, they would have still been safe. However, I entered my position somewhere here, and then this is how market played out. My target was supposed to be at this last high. Unfortunately, I didn't wait for price to reach there before I closed out of my position. Okay, so now moving along, we can see we had another opportunity for a buy. In this case, I had to go down to my 1 hour time frame to see a better entry, but let me see if I can show you guys from this 15 minutes time frame entry. Remember, price had not closed above this candle. It's very close, but price did not break this structure to the upside. So now what I did was I went to my higher time frame and looked for a valid demand zone, the closest valid demand zone. In this case, it was supposed to be this, okay, this candle here, this red candle. So you draw from here to extend here. This is supposed to be how it was. Okay, so we're waiting for price to come into this zone, wait for candle closure above, which I believe was this. So I entered within here and here. After candle closure, you can wait for a pullback or you can enter aggressively. Okay, so let me delete this since we know that was where I took my entry from. And then what happened after I entered, price moved up because my target was still that high. However, we're having a bit of a fundamental news ish going on, and after I saw this speedy move to the upside, I just decided to close halfway to full take profit. Moving along, we had another entry position. Now understand that this here, let me delete this so that you can see it a bit clearly. Okay, let me delete this. This now is our most recent break of structure to the upside. Okay, get it? So now, since this is our most recent break of structure to the upside, ideally we should be looking for our latest demand zone, which is this candle here, closest demand zone. Okay, this red candle should have been our most ideal demand zone. What I did, however, was I picked up my Fibonacci tool and I decided to draw from the bottom of the leg that created the break of structure. Bottom of the leg to the top of the leg. Now what did I find out? I found out that we have a 50% level here, as this level here to this level here is our Fibonacci level, 50% Fibonacci level. Okay, so I was now like, okay, there's a possibility market price may come to this demand zone and there's a possibility market may go to the 50% Fibonacci level and react off of there. All right. So now I was like, either ways, whenever I see confirmation, I would enter, which is what happened. After I got into this, I saw this price test at this 50% level, came down. What was the last bearish candle? Let me try and zoom in so that you see. You can see that the last bearish candle is actually this red candle here. So now, if price should close above this red candle, you are good to enter. Okay, so price closed above this red candle here. I don't think I was on my phone at that time, so I unfortunately got in late. So that was the play, and I got in around here. The good thing is, when you enter such a position, you see, entering from the 50% level can either give you an advantage or disadvantage, because 50% level will have to increase your stop loss. Overall, my stop loss ideally should be below this demand level. That's the ideal stop loss marked up level. So if you enter at this 50% level because you saw confirmation, there's a tendency for a sporadic move to happen. I've seen it happen in the past. So your stop loss will be a lot bigger than usual. Okay. So after I entered and I saw a good move, I had to now adjust my stop loss, and my target was supposed to be at this recent swing high, but I ended up closing about another halfway to take profit level. Okay, I need to work on that because I tend to close positions when they are close to the take profit level, but I think in my head I process it a bit differently, because if price has gotten over 70% your full take profit, I tell myself that it's completely fine to close your full position. Yes, if price gets to 100% full take profit, it's also lovely, but I'm just trying to tell myself that I mustn't always take 100%, because a lot of times someone will see their trade going to maybe 95% full take profit. They won't close, they'll wait for it, and price ended up reversing against them. They end up hitting either break even or full stop loss, which is ridiculous. So I decided not to be that kind of person, and anything from 70%, if I close, I should be satisfied. Okay, let's move along to, I believe, the third trade. So before we leave here, let's know that this is another most recent breakout structure to the upside. What are we looking for? Looking to draw our last demand zone, and as I mentioned initially, this red candle here is our last demand zone. So what we're waiting for after this breakout structure to the upside is waiting for price to come and retest this demand zone. However, if we see opportunities along the line, it's also good to sell, which is what I did. So from the higher time frame, I believe daily 4 hours ish, I noticed there was a supply zone up above, and I think because I didn't look at the higher time frame initially, I missed this sell. So I was capitalizing on the fact that if I see an internal breakout structure to the downside, potential move, I would likely enter, and lo and behold, a move came in here, which I drew here. This is a valid breakout structure, so I decided to draw my supply zone, which is this last bullish candle. Marked up my zone, waited for price to come into that zone, and price came into that zone. You will see a better confirmation from this leg here, this green candle. Price closed below it, and I entered somewhere here. Shortly after I entered, price started playing the long game, started pushing into the further drawdown before finally hitting my full TP. Trades like this now hit full TP. I think I came to my phone and saw that it had already closed in full position. Okay, this time it was in the middle of the night ish. Yeah, so I wasn't even awake when this trade hit full TP. So trades like this are also nice to see. So I waited for price to reach this level. This one I'm not going to show it because I close it at the break even, because after price hit this demand zone that we were waiting for, I saw the way price was moving and it wasn't with good momentum, so I just had to close it, and that's where we are today. I hope you learned a thing or two and you understand that the setup remains the same, be it you're buying or you are selling. Okay.